So welcome to today's webcast, Office 365 D-Spring 2014 Roadmap, and this is for Lync. I would like to turn today's event over to your first presenter, Jay Bartlett. He's a program manager with the customer team with Lync. And with that, Jay, you now have the floor.
Thank you, Renee. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, and good morning for all folks joining us from North America, and good afternoon to those joining us in Europe. My name is Jay Bartlett, and I'll be your host and your moderator today. Welcome to the Spring 2014 Microsoft Office 365 Dedicated and ITAR Roadmap session. Today's session will cover Lync Online, and our presenters are Daniel Valik and Fernando Apolinario, both Senior Program Managers for Lync Online and Product Marketing. You're listening through an internet audio stream, and we will be monitoring your questions, as Renee mentioned, through the Q&A window on your screen. Rest assured, we'll read all of the questions, and we'll respond as we can. We'll post the answers in the window for you to see in the Q&A window. We may also hold questions until the end, and at that point, we'll answer them in a general session. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to our two presenters, Fernando and Daniel. Take it away.
Thank you, Jay. So our agenda for today, much like in previous webinars we've had in the past, I'm going to spend a little bit of time covering our current service offering. And then I will dive into the new features for this coming release. And then I'm going to hand it over to Daniel, who's going to give us an update about the Lync conference that occurred about a month ago, give us some of the highlights. And he'll also cover some developments in the Skype and mobility space, and then we'll end with a general question and answer session. So to start off, our current service offering, I just want to recap the current capability that we have in the service today, just to build awareness and making sure that we're all aware of what is available to you as of right now. So we have coverage in the Lync Online dedicated service for pretty much all the client types that are available to on-prem customers today, and also have support for mobility clients. As client updates occur, not all features are typically available right away, but as they become available, we communicate those either through the roadmap or through your SDM as necessary. We also have IMMP and audio federation with Skype today, as well as general office integration. In the voice space, we have a pretty rich offering for enterprise voice, including a lot of the typical features you'd expect for voice, including hold, retrieve, transfer, simul-ring. We have advanced features like call parking, voice delegation, E911. There's two options for voice connectivity today. You can either leverage carrier SIP trunks that you may already have, or choose to purchase new ones from qualified partners. And there's also the ability to directly connect to existing private networks in your environment via the installation of another on-premise session border controller, or SBC. With voice, we go the extra mile in terms of making sure that the quality is top-notch. So we perform a network assessment to make sure that we level set on the health of the network before we actually begin deployments. And we do support quality of service tagging for both audio and video. Quality of service tagging is available even if you're not a voice customer, but it is highly recommended if you are. In the meeting collaboration space, we support ad hoc and scheduled online meetings. I think we've had an issue. One moment, please. So to continue, in the meeting space, we support ad hoc and scheduled online meetings. We have Outlook scheduling support, client-side meeting recording. We do support interoperability with third-party video installations that you may have on-premise. And we do support larger meeting sizes for particular deployments. There are requirements that the customer be an enterprise voice customer and be on Lync 2013 minimally. There are a few other requirements, and we can discuss those during an actual implementation. But the large meeting size is up to 500 max, and we work with you to determine the best fit. And dial-in audio conferencing. So we do support, as part of a voice deployment, being able to add in dial-in capabilities via your PSTN provider. In the IT control space, we provide quite a bit of ability around auditing and monitoring, administration, and network. So with auditing and monitoring, we provide IM archiving capability, and then we also provide a direct data feed so that you can actually port that data, archive data, QoE data, CDER data, on-premise for longer-term retention. We provide access to a key performance metrics console, so you can monitor the health and utilization of your deployment. And then we also provide many per-user configurations directly from your Active Directory. And then we have over 50 global configuration options for your deployment. And finally, we have a diverse hardware ecosystem, partners that are constantly coming out with new products that are typically qualified for dedicated. Now, there are a lot of devices that aren't qualified for dedicated, and there is a web page on TechNet that would be a good reference. You can get it through your SDM or look on TechNet and type in Lync qualified devices, and you'll be able to get a full range of devices at various price points that are qualified. So with that, I'm going to move into the features that we're releasing for this coming spring release. So there's a number of client productivity enhancement features that came out earlier this year. We're finally making them available. There are some prerequisites around these. First and foremost, for the next couple slides I'll show you, all of them pretty much require that you are upgraded to Lync 2013 on the service side, so that's the back end. But then it does require that the user also be using either a particular version of the client, so the Lync 23 desktop client, and typically that's always the latest one, but minimally the July 2013 version you can see here. So the first productivity enhancement here is that with these new clients, you'll be able to essentially copy, paste, or embed inline images into the chat window, like we've seen in the past. The next ability is a meetings view. So on the client, you'll actually be able to see within the Lync client the actual view of all the meetings from Outlook that you have coming in, and be able to join directly from there. And then next, we have an IM mute capability. So there's the ability to actually host meetings and start off by actually muting everybody from the beginning. Now, the reason that this particular feature is interesting is if you're holding slightly larger meetings and you're trying to control the tempo of how the interaction goes. And this particular feature will work particularly well with the next productivity enhancement, which is the Q&A manager. And this one I wanted to spend a little more time on because this really speaks to a lot of customer asks that we've had about how to better mimic some of the capability we have in live meeting. So slowly but surely, we're starting to deploy out some of those live meeting type capabilities. We don't have the full large meeting support that we have in live meeting up to, I believe, about 1,200 participants, but we're starting to inch up there, and we should expect to see, as communicated by Microsoft in the latest product roadmap, that we are working on a service to support larger meetings in general. But this feature, at least in the short term, provides the capability to manage questions and answers. And it simply works much like presenting a PowerPoint. You're able to attach or present a Q&A session, and then it allows perhaps you and a secondary presenter to monitor and address each question as you go along. And then once you're actually complete, you're able to save that out to an external file for sharing and for publishing. And you can see here from the little screenshots that it works pretty much, again, like a presentation and like adding a PowerPoint deck to your meeting. The next feature we're going to be adding to the service is archiving critical mode. So this has been requested by a few customers who already have archiving today. Archiving critical mode essentially extends the archiving capability we have for IM archiving so that if critical mode is a feature that you want enabled, it will actually block all your users' IM and conferencing sessions in the case of a Lync server failure. And this is really for companies who have an absolute need to or have a guarantee that that IMs are not taking place without being archived in case of those failures. So if there's regulatory or other legal obligations that you may have for this, we can certainly turn this on for you. So IM and conferencing would be blocked, but voice calls would not, since voice calls are not something that are actually archived today. Now, that said, that this is a feature we're offering, I do want to note that the archiving capabilities is highly resilient, and it's pretty far-fetched that it would fail, but with any technical implementation, failure is always a possibility, even in remote cases. So for that reason, and for the other regulatory reasons that I mentioned, we are providing this feature available to you. We're also introducing a little bit more mobile control. So some customers have been asking for the ability to essentially block transcripts of IM and conferencing sessions on their mobile devices. So you'll be able to do this now as well. It'll be through standard CRAS request. We have a CRAS template out there today for enabling mobile, and it'll just be another flag to make sure that you want that mobile history turned off. So that CRAS template and every CRAS template that will be available with some of these features won't be coming out until, I believe, probably next week or so. So you'll have to wait through that and work with your SDM to make those requests. BES and Lync integration. So for those of you who've been around for a little while, you probably recall that this was in the service some time ago. And the Exchange team's been doing a lot of work to get the new BES server qualified for the service. So we will be able to have that integration turned on once again. It's specific for Lync 2013, but it will work for Lync 2010. And again, this only provides IM and presence integration for the BlackBerry Lync client on BlackBerry devices. Provisioning. So this isn't really a new feature, but I did want to bring this up because we've had a lot of requests around what can we do on a per user level. And I mentioned pretty early on in the call of what we can do. So I wanted to just make sure that everybody is aware that you actually do have quite a lot of flexibility on a per user level to enable and disable various features. So this screenshot here is actually the latest provisioning guide. And the provisioning guide is exactly this, a little tool that acts as a decoder to provide you sort of the capability and attribute bitmap numbers that you can then plug into your Active Directory for direct management of those per user configurations. So for example, if you're looking to have some users not have mobility turned on, this little screenshot shows you here that you click the checkbox for Lync enabled, you click the checkbox for no mobility, and then you get the little numbers and text at the bottom. And this you would give to your identity administrator within your organization as what you would like to have done for particular users, and they would do this in your Active Directory, and that gets replicated into the Lync server, and it takes effect pretty much almost immediately, usually within about an hour. So I wanted to highlight this because, again, a lot of people don't know that this is the latest version of it. So if you're not seeing this particular provisioning guide, or better yet, if you've never seen this provisioning guide, then I would ask you to reach out to your SDM. I've actually provided a hyperlink to it at the bottom of this PowerPoint, so you'll be able to get to it directly. It is out on the customer extranet. It is an executable, so you launch it, and you'll pretty much see the screen exactly as it is. There is quite a bit of help text in the application, so you can navigate that. And there's also several documents outside of this application that talk about that provisioning process if it's not clear to you yet. And then moving on, so the last piece that I want to talk about is a pilot opportunity that we have. So we're looking to find a customer or several customers who might be interested in actually running through a pilot and migrating to Lync Online. So this isn't an upgrade of any sort. This is really for customers who may be at a turning point, perhaps, for their deployment, and they like what they see in the multi-tenant environment. They may want to do this. So at some point, if you're interested, please reach out to us. I just highlighted in this slide in particular how we would do this, and this would be phased migration, much like we do upgrades, so that it wouldn't be like one big bang. The important thing here is that you are able to maintain the SIP address for users that you might be moving from one environment to the next. So if your SIP domain is contoso.com, you would actually have that across both deployments. So you can basically have a testing area to do this. And why would this be interesting? Again, I think you've heard a lot about convergence from the CAB for those who attended, and future migrations of platforms or convergence of platforms. So this is actually going to be the ability for us to migrate in the future. Right now, this is just going to be the ability to migrate to the Lync Online as it is, but in the near future, we're hoping that we'll be able to migrate to a version of dedicated that is uplifted in the multi-tenant stack. So some of the things that we have on multi-tenant today, like the standard provisioning across the different Microsoft services, like Azure, is there. We have third-party audio conferencing provider support in Lync Online. And that, for example, is something that we don't expect to come to dedicated anytime soon. So there's all sorts of reasons why you may want to try this. So again, I don't want to harp on it too much, but if you are interested in it, please do reach out to your SDM, and we can get in touch and start talking about this. So with that, I think we wanted to, before I pass it over to Daniel to talk about a few more areas, we wanted to do another quick poll. So Renee?
Yep, ladies and gentlemen, there's a poll now up in your screen on the left-hand side of your console. If you don't see it, make sure to click that polling question icon on the bottom of your screen. And so our polling question today is just how often do you use Lync and Skype for your daily communications? And we have different offers there for what you do. So please go ahead and click that radio button next to the answer and go ahead and click submit. We thank you for your responses today. Okay, great. Thanks, everyone, for your participation.
Well, good morning from Seattle. So I have the pleasure to talk about the next part in this webcast. And just before, let me introduce. So my name is Daniel Jonathan Valik. I'm a Senior Product Marketing Manager in the Lync team. And I want to talk a little bit about the recap of a very important event that we had a couple of weeks ago, which was the Lync conference in Las Vegas. And some other news and updates that I want to cover are around Skype, mobility, and of course, excuse me, and of course what you can do with the Lync mobile client and with the latest updates. So Well, the Lync conference was one of our most important events, as you can imagine, of course, in the Lync team and in the Skype team. And this year, we basically covered a lot of news. So if you haven't had the chance for being at the Lync conference, then I would recommend some webcasts that you can find on the Microsoft website, or some YouTube videos, or even some articles about all the news that we covered and also announcement that we did at the Lync conference. So one of the important things that we covered was basically the availability of video integration between Skype and between Lync. So if around the summer time frame, we will be able to make a video call from Skype to Lync and from Lync to Skype. That's one of the news. But this is actually just one of the things that or features that we're integrating between Skype and Lync down the roadmap. Another big feature or availability that we covered in the Lync conference was something around our new APIs. So customization with Lync, some business scenarios that you can create. So there are a lot of news on how you can bring in, for example, instant messaging or audio and video communication and opportunities into, for example, web endpoints, and how can you communicate with Lync-enabled users on the other side. So that's another thing, and of course, there are a lot of other news actually that part of the Lync conference. So we had, we had around 160 sessions and 1,800 attendees actually for the conference. So quite large. We are growing. That's a good thing because more and more customers, of course, are interested about Lync and Skype. And so we're planning an even bigger conference for next year. So if you haven't had the chance for this year, next year's next. Okay, so let's go into some details. I talked about the Lync conference, and basically what you can find here in the slide when you download the slide deck later are some important articles, some video material that we summarized for you, especially Keynote with our new Vice President for the Lync and for the Skype business. Definitely recommend that. We changed also from unified communications to universal communications, because the future of our product and the future of communications itself is much broader than only voice, video, and telephony. So, excuse me. So if you want to watch the keynote, you will see that we are thinking about the integration of more mobile scenarios, the integration of web scenarios, the future of video and web conference, and of course also the future on Lync across all the platforms, devices, and technologies that are available. And what you can find here in the links are, excuse me, Seattle is cold, and I think I got a little bit of cold here. So what you can find here in the links behind are I would say, major videos and the webcasts that you actually should watch. Okay, so if you think about Skype and Lync today, right? So there are a couple of important things that you can do today in dedicated as well, of course. So first of all, it's possible if you take your Lync client and you want to add a contact, then you can actually choose between some external users that you can add on in your contact list. And the important thing is, with the Skype acquisition, we made it possible to also add on Skype users in the Lync contact list. So take your Lync client, click on the small plus that you see on the right side in the corner of the Lync client, and then afterwards, what you can see is you can actually add on a new Skype user to your contact list. You give in the Skype ID, and what you basically can do is you can synchronize presence information between Skype and Lync. You can do, of course, an audio call. You can do instant messaging, and as I said before, video is something that we're working on, and around summer time frame, you will be also able to do a video call, right? And some interesting scenarios for the future are, so if you get, for example, a Skype call to your Lync-enabled user or to your Lync client, then you can forward the call to your voicemail, or you can actually connect to someone else, transfer the call. So things like that that you can see in the slide are basically possible from the feature set based from Skype and Lync. Okay, if you haven't seen before how it looks like, so here are some screenshots. So this is the Lync 2013 client, as you know. Then you have in the right corner actually this kind of small symbol. Then in the user interface, you just type in the name, basically the Skype ID. You add the user, and then you can control with privacy settings and group settings For example, if you want to create a Skype group in your Lync client, and maybe you want to change your privacy settings, maybe because Skype communication is for external communication or for private communication or for communication with some specific customers and partners, right? Okay, that's basically what you need to do. So if you run the latest Lync client, that's important, right? So the latest version of the Lync client, then you will see, find the feature, and then actually you can add Skype for the communication. Okay, so in terms of mobility, right? If you're interested in a mobile client for Lync, right? So the first big advantage is, as Fernando before mentioned, we're bringing out updates all the time, right? So every couple of months, usually every 3 to 6 months, we're actually having updates on the mobile clients. And I want to cover today a little bit what we have done in 5.3 in the mobile clients. And honestly, the mobile client is great, right? So if you know the mobility from maybe Lync 2010 to now Lync 2013, so we integrated a lot of new features, right? So for example, video integration, audio integration, sharing is something that I want to cover today. So I will show you how that looks like. But also performance, battery saving, right? And also the capability to manage some base settings in the Lync client. So for example, if you want to run audio and video only for Wi-Fi or for the data connection, and things like that. Actually, you can control it more granular in the Lync client on every kind of platform. So the nice thing is also, right, so that we're having Lync clients today for Windows Phone, for iPhone, for iPad, for Android, right? So we're extending actually our platforms, and you also heard before integration with BlackBerry. And it will continue, right? So the roadmap of Lync is quite interesting because we are planning more features and almost actually a feature and parity across all platforms, across all the different operating systems where Lync can actually run in future, right? And a lot of things that I said before, yeah, you can do actually today. Okay, so what is new in 5.3? The 5.3 update, you can get it if you go, for example, to the marketplace or to the App Store on the iPhone side or Android side, and actually you can download the latest version of the client. And so main changes that we did was improved the performance, improved battery lifetime, and from the feature side, we improved the ability to actually see a PowerPoint presentation, also to zoom in a PowerPoint presentation, and it actually looks quite nice on a tablet, or it looks, of course, also nice on the phone. So if you do the update, not only desktop sharing, also PowerPoint as content sharing is actually possible. Yeah. I also listed down here there is support also for Office 365 in the China region. So if you follow the news, it's actually quite new that we actually offering Office 365 in this region, and also there is actually support for Windows Phone, iPhone, iPad, and for Android. For iPhone, I would say almost we had the same updates as for Windows Phone. For Android, we implemented the capability that you can join and rejoin meetings faster as with the earlier version that we integrated with Android. So the performance is actually a major thing that we integrated here, or that we improved on the Android platform. Another feature that we improved on Android is if you have a conversation and you see the conversation in the conversation history, that you can rejoin the conversation out of the Lync client, and actually you can continue instant messaging, audio, video communication out of the conversation history on your Lync client on the Android phone. Yeah, and it's the same, of course, on iPhone, on Windows Phone, but we didn't have that so far on Android, so we improved this feature. My favorite, actually, on the Lync or in the Lync client on mobile devices is something, especially if you are mobile, right, or if you want to join a meeting, maybe out of the bus or car, or if you run actually to your next appointment, then one great feature that we implemented is actually voice control. So on Windows 8 devices, you are able to actually enable the voice control, and then afterwards you see here some commands that we can control. So for example, you can join a meeting, you can join the next meeting, the current meeting, you can actually show the next Lync meeting, you can play a voicemail, you can actually show the voicemail in the Lync client on the display, right? you can actually show the calendar, so the summary of all your appointments and also online meetings in the Lync client. And you can do that actually with the voice control instead of actually opening the Lync client and then switch to the user, so to the visual interface where you see the information. It's quite fancy, so if you want to switch between meetings, just show what is your next meeting and join. The voice control really makes sense, especially if you are maybe really mobile or if you're sitting in a car. It's a great feature that you can control through Bluetooth as well. So if you haven't tried it out, press the Windows button and then afterwards try one of the voice commands with the latest client, and you will be able actually to control the Lync client here. Okay, another thing where we had a strong customer request was the ability on how to join a meeting with Lync, right? So in the past, it was only possible to sign in as a user, and then afterwards as an authenticated user, you were able to join a meeting. That is absolutely possible for companies that are using Lync, of course, and having a user account, so a CPUI that they can give in with the password and can actually join. For maybe customers or partners of yours, right, that do not have a Lync account and that you want to invite for a Lync meeting, maybe on the mobile device, that was a little bit tricky, right? So today what I can do is I can set up a Lync online meeting. I can send it out to you, and if you have Lync, that's great. You just join with your authenticated Lync client or with your authentication and you join the meeting. If you do not have a Lync user account or you're not using Lync, then you can actually open the Lync client on on every kind of platform, and you can actually join as a guest without any authentication. So you just click the button. That works on Windows Phone, on iPad, on Android, of course, right? And you can actually give in a friendly name, and I see then afterwards the name in the meeting, right? So there's no authentication needed anymore. Okay, so the next thing is sharing, and sharing is a great feature because you follow PowerPoint, or you can actually follow desktop sharing. So if you have a conversation, right, and you have a meeting and you see the presenter, you have the instant messaging conversation, and you see actually the PowerPoint presentation, then you can zoom in the device to the presentations. There are a couple of features that are published in TechNet. And the great thing is just that you get a better experience, right? So next to only audio and video, you also can switch to content. You can actually stop the video if you want. You can actually see the content that gets presented. So not only the current content, also the list of content that is probably uploaded in the meeting. You can see that. And you can actually manage participants, right? So the nice thing is if you see back to the participants, then you can invite additional participants. You can actually, if you need to, kick out someone from the meeting, out of the meeting. Well, and this is something that we integrate for all the platforms that are running with Lync, right? Okay, if you go here further to sharing, that's actually a different kind of device. So that's actually a Windows Phone, different form factor. You can see, see the sharing with all the options, with the main features on the bottom. I can start instant messaging conversation during the sharing mode. You can also see how it looks like if I mute a participant or if I remove a participant. And you can also see, for example, if I go to the next slide, how that looks like here on the screenshot. Second screenshot from the left. Perfect. So far so good. Another thing that we updated is if you want to run the Lync client on iOS 7. So for example, when you go to older clients, so they look a little bit different. The reason for that is that we changed the user interface completely, right? So on the left side, you can see, for example, the contact view. On the right side, you can see if you select a contact and if you choose the type of communication, then you have here instant messaging, voice, video, and also in the contact card email available. And this is actually how it looks like, right? So the user interface on iOS 7 is completely different as it was in past. And what we really tried is with the Lync here that we made it more user-friendly. And also we adapted the design that Apple, for example, has on the iOS. And we adapted it in the Lync client here so that's a familiar design and also feature set for the Lync client across all the different platforms. What you can see here is also a link for one of our blogs on the TechNet forum. So there are a couple of things that you can do with this client here on iOS 7 versus the other clients on Android on Windows Phone. So if you're interested, just click on the link and you can actually see the different capabilities and also how you actually can control the Lync client on the different devices. Okay, so with that, let me switch to Skype. So also on the Skype side, not only on the Lync side, we of course working on updated versions, and the last update that we did for Android is 4.7. So you should see the slide in a second here. Just give us a moment here. So 4.7 is an update that we let's probably pick up here Android because this is the latest version that we published. So 4.7 is available on all the platforms. The previous publishing was for the Android platform a couple of days ago, and what we fixed on the Android platform with Skype 4.7 were a couple of really important things, right? So for example, the contact list or audio and video. Let's say limitations that we had on devices that had no Bluetooth or that have no Bluetooth, and also some camera issues that we had specifically to the Android device. So if you're running Skype on Android versus Windows or iPad or iPhone, then in this case it should be good to go also now for video and also for the contact list that you might import from Live Messenger, so that you should also be able from the old Live Messenger to see the same contacts now on Skype. That was one thing that we integrated. There's a blog that I wanted to list down. So if you are interested in all the different features and all the different improvements, there are quite a lot. So that are actually listed down here or in the blog here. And one thing that I want to call out is the battery saving, right? So if you run Skype on Windows Phone, that was absolutely fine in terms of performance and in terms of battery. If you did it on iPhone and iPad, the same here. But just on Android, we had a couple of small issues with battery lifetime. And so with the 4.7 update, we fixed this. And so now in the in the suspend mode and also in the active mode, you have now the same performance and same, I would say, same usage in terms of battery that you have on other platforms, right? And again, with Skype, you can do instant messaging, you can do video, you can do audio, you can do, of course, PSTN calling. So if you purchase actually minutes from Skype, so from Microsoft, then you can also international calling for really cheap rates. And this is something that we're offering here on. Okay, so I talked a lot about Lync today, a little bit about Skype, and one thing that I want to mention is that we have Skype also available for so many different platforms, right? So from PC, mobile, so here from, again, from Android, from iOS, and also from Windows Phone. Then also different devices where we have an embedded client, and also Xbox, of course, where we have an amazing experience if you run Kinect and Xbox and Skype. So this here as well. Other mobile devices like game consoles and other platforms actually where we run Skype. So it's actually a really broad integration of our Skype clients that we're having. And so if you have a device, then try out. If you find a Skype client, you probably do, and just try out the communication. Okay, so with that, we're going into the area where we would love to see some questions from your end, Q&A. And that includes, of course, a presentation from Fernando and myself. So we're good to go and more than happy to answer any kind of question.
Very good. Thank you both. We've had a number of questions coming in over the session, and for the ones that we did not answer in the Q&A window, we're going to take a couple of minutes and just go see what we can do here live. So the first question that came in was back in around inserting images in the Lync file window was, can those images be resized? I'm not sure if that's something we have off the top.
No, they can't be resized.
Okay. Okay, very good. The second one we had was, do we know, is there a plan for Lync conference sizes to be increased from 250 today?
Yeah, so I did mention that we do make available larger meeting sizes up to 500. Currently, the limitations are around the fact that the customer must be deployed with enterprise voice. They must be on Lync 2013, the backend, the service itself. And there are a couple of other limitations that we should discuss during an actual voice deployment to figure out if 500 is actually the best size for you based on network performance and usage patterns that we would be aware of within the CDR. We would make a recommendation as to the optimal size.
Cool, thank you. The next question was about Lync room systems and whether or not Microsoft will be providing support for Lync room systems for dedicated customers.
Yeah, we've actually had it on the roadmap a couple times, so I apologize that we haven't introduced it into the service yet. We do expect it to be available for the service by this summer. So we might be able to introduce it mid major release. But we're waiting on some modifications, mostly because of provisioning. Some of the nuances of provisioning in a dedicated service topology is a little bit different than what we do with on-premise customers. So it's not there yet, but it is coming soon, and we're working on it.
Okay. We see here the question has come in that says Skype and Lync video is coming in summer. Do we have any more granularity on what that means? And the customer is asking from a China perspective as well.
That's a very good question. So what it means, basically it means that you can take your Lync client and you can actually press on a video symbol, it's on a video feature, and you can establish a video call from Lync to Skype. And you can also take your Skype client, you will see the Lync user that you added in your contact list, and you can start a video call from there. You can call a Lync user or in the Lync topology. So from the resolution standpoint, we will support here VGA and also HD if the bandwidth is sufficient. So usually we recommend here at least a good Wi-Fi connection or a good network connection. That is possible as well. And other than that, that's I would say basically what we have, and we also will support this configuration or integration also for the China region, right? So this is an international deployment that we're doing. That's something that we're adding on in a new version of Skype. So there will be a Skype update around summer time frame, and with the Skype update, also with the client update, we will be able to check out video for you as well.
This is the U.S. summer you're talking about, so
thank you. Yeah.
July, August time
yes.
frame.
Around July, August timeframe, yeah, that's correct.
Okay, great. So the next question that came in was all about content sharing or content viewing on Android devices. And the question is there timing available for when that kind of functionality will be available for Android?
Mm-hmm. So let's probably go for content sharing, right? So what you can do with the 5.3 update, you can take your Lync client on your desktop, and you can share content, or you can share your desktop to a mobile device. So this is actually possible with the mobile integration today. And if you install 5.3, as I said, or as I presented before, and this is available right now. So if you go to the store, you can actually download 5.3. Then you have the feature set that I showed before in the presentation, where you see sharing and where you see also the management of participants for the meeting. And so what you cannot do today, so you cannot pick up content on your mobile device and share it back into a conference session. So content that is on the mobile device you cannot share today, but this is something that we're working on for one of the next releases. about content that you have on the PC, right, on the full client of Lync 2013. This is something that you can share to any kind of mobile integration, and you can join from Windows Phone, iPad, iPhone, and Android, and you can see the content or the desktop sharing there on the device.
All right, we're coming near the end of the questions, so I'll read another one, but we do have time, so if there are any further questions, now would be a great time to submit them. The next question that I have here is Lync mobile logging on by default, or is it off by default?
I think that question is referring to the mobile history or conversation history that I was talking about earlier with the provisioning. So it's on by default, and you can request to have it disabled.
Through a CRAS template?
Yeah, so that'll be through by CRAS, and it will apply for your entire deployment.
Great. The next question that has come in is asking what's available today from a self-service management, i.e. Is PowerShell something that's offered today on the Lync service?
Right, so through the provisioning guide that I showed, there's obviously a lot of per user type enablements, and then there's CRAS for organization-wide enablements. PowerShell, it's a very good point. I actually forgot to mention this. So we did have PowerShell introduced into the service in the last roadmap release, and during some recent upgrade deployments to 2013, we've actually discovered a couple of new things that we didn't expect. So we actually have had to remove that from the service temporarily. So as of now, we don't have PowerShell support that we can deploy, and we're going to be working on that and looking to reintroduce that in the future.
Thank you. All right. At this time, there are no other questions, and so just to kind of round this out, your time is very valuable to us. We're interested in hearing your feedback. We want to constantly improve the roadmap sessions and add more value over time. I'm going to turn this over to Renee for some questions about today's session.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. So we do have a couple things we'd like you to do before we do close out this session. I do have one final poll that I'd like you to actually do before you leave us today. So please do go ahead and look on your console, and you should see the polling question pop up. And since this is the first time that we have held this roadmap series after the Office 365D Customer Advisory Board, we would like to know how this timing worked for you. So can you please just go ahead and read those options and just let us know what works better for you so we can plan better for the future. And also, we would like to get some general feedback about today's session as well. And in the announcements, you will see that we have inserted a survey URL, and in just a moment, you will see a pop-up with that URL as well. And we would love it if before you logged out today that you could go ahead and fill this out and give us some feedback about what you liked, what you'd like to see, and some comments for our presenters today. So again, please do go ahead and fill out that survey. And with that, presenters, do we have any closing comments before we go ahead and end our call today?
Thanks, Renee. Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody for attending. I'd like to thank Daniel and Fernando for giving a great presentation this morning. We will post the recording, and I think Renee has has already posted the details of that. I want to thank everybody for submitting your questions, and just thank everybody for attending.
Okay, great. Yes, and ladies and gentlemen, you will receive a follow-up email after today's session with the recording to the archive page that will actually host the deck as well as the recording of the session if you'd like to review it at a later date. But with that, that does conclude today's session. Thank you so much for joining us today, but you may now disconnect.